Welcome back to Bruno Mode EX Plus. This is part 9 of the Bruno Mode EX Plus mod, the mod that makes the game much harder. I suggest you watch the previous parts first since most things are changed. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. I never do this at the start of a video, but it's hard not to ask with 116,000 of you guys being returning viewers out there watching, but most of you guys are not subscribed. Let's get right back into the video. Our first minigame today is Portal Combat. Despite it looking very easy as it is unchanged from vanilla, it is terribly difficult. Firstly, because it is unchanged from vanilla, the portals that teleport zombies straight to the end of the lawn are insanely difficult to deal with consideration of letterhead zombies. Just watch this letterhead zombie go from start to finish here. Defending letterheads with 3 columns of space seemed like a perfectly fair and balanced idea that will totally not be impossible. Well, I can show you this can indeed get worse than just that. Football zombies come basically every wave as soon as they can start spawning, and it's impossible to stop them as well if you only have half the space available. A football zombie teleports straight to the 5th column as soon as it spawns in, forcing me to quickly use a cherry bomb to stop it from killing everything in the 4th row. And before I even killed that first football zombie, in comes another football zombie in the 1st row. And without a cherry bomb or walnut, I really cannot do much about them. I thought that it eating up everything in the 1st row was bad enough then, so I have to just let it go ham on all my plants and pray for the best. Then I take a look at the 4th row again. Another football zombie. Okay, after all is resolved, comes the first flag. And here you go, 3 more football zombies again. Good luck dealing with them now. Okay, I get enough walnuts to block them off this time. And, wait, balloon zombies. Okay, well, this time I still have my lawnmowers, a good defense, and a plenty good amount of pea shooting plants with cactus defending in every row. Surely, nothing can go wrong here. I mean, it's the final wave, we have all lawnmowers, we even killed a gargantuar and a newspaper zombie from the target zombie just now. Oh wait. The one balloon zombie that happens to come in exactly 1 row that does not have a cactus in it, leading to a loss. And I'm telling you, this isn't even just a once-off loss, because it took me 10 more attempts to beat this level after this. It's called, "This level doesn't give enough cacti." Just look at how ridiculous this level is just because of the dumb way the conveyor belt was designed in this level to distribute not enough cacti to beat the level with. Eventually, I was able to beat Portal Combat. The strategy is to, I don't know. There is no strategy. It's you get enough cacti so you win or you don't. Not really that complicated. Column Like You See 'Em has the same plants and same zombies, and also the same density as before. The only difference apart from the plants and variants is that there is 1 extra flag. By the exact same, I kid you not. Even the waves are completely unchanged from vanilla, and I checked them myself. The ladder zombies and Jack-in-the-Box zombies come in the same waves. So yes, the extra flag seems like the only change in Column Like You See 'Em, but you can clearly see that football zombies having double the HP is a result of the zombie changes. Except it doesn't actually matter at all since Pumpkins equally receives the buff since it now explodes on death. It basically mitigates the effect of football zombies having double the health this level. So let's just talk about the only actual difference. The additional flag that we have to beat is actually just the section after the 2nd flag in vanilla, repeated but with double the zombies. With there being double the zombies, doesn't actually matter much as long as you have jalapenos, which hopefully you've saved up after the first 2 flags. The jalapeno timings you need are just 1 jalapeno when the wave after the 1st flag comes in, 1 jalapeno when ladder zombies enter the view, and 1 jalapeno when the Jack-in-the-Box zombies come in. And after the Jack-in-the-Box zombies die to our 3rd jalapeno, the only thing left is the final wave. Which, well, is the final wave and you have roof cleaners. Moving on to the next level. Bobsled Bonanza is next, and this level is rather scary because the zombie density is much higher than in vanilla. bobsled teams count half of the basic equivalents they used to, along with freezing zombonis, and them also moving faster now, as well as the much faster difficulty ramping make this level sound a lot harder than it actually is. The level is actually very simple because of the potato mine buff. Potato mines arm instantly, so you can pick imitator potato mine and still easily one-shot a bobsled team without needing to pre-plant them. Potato mines also still work against zombonis while frozen, unlike squashes that become useless against zombonis. After the third wave of zombies, 3 bobsled teams can come at the same time, so you can't cheese them with potato mines. But by then, you should have had 2 minutes to save up for a cattail. The cattail will sit in the water and target whichever lane, and at this point you can also start avoiding your spike rocks. After you get 4 spike rocks, the level is pretty much already beaten because spike rocks buff to now have a chance to stun zombies walking over it allows it to kill all bobsled zombies on its own. If you are somehow unlucky, you have plenty of cattails as backup damage that will help you deal with all the letterheads and stray zombies that can potentially sneak through. The game is now just a waiting game as you simply just wait to replenish your spike rocks to pop more zomboni tires for 4 flags, and I imagine you should know how to win from here on out. And this process is pretty mundane, so I'll spare you from watching 20 more waves of spike rocks killing everything by moving on to the next minigame. Zombie Nimble Zombie Quick is next. Take a look at the zombies here. The game is trying to throw a survival endless combination of zombies at us this level, so the only good response for us is of course to use a survival endless setup. The most logical pick here is cattail, as we need them to counter balloon zombies as well as angry dancing zombies or letterhead zombies that may sneak past our defense. As for the ground lanes, winter melons are the best poised this level as just the plant that deals the highest damage generically speaking. I also brought in tall nuts to block off pole vaulters to prevent gravestones from spawning while we don't have enough damage early on. However, the problem is quickly seen as our cattails are playing basically a catch-up game as they don't output enough damage, and it's only a matter of time until our tall nuts can't handle that much pressure. Not enough damage? Simple solution. Instead of bringing in plants like Magna Shroom to provide utility against ladder zombies, opting for Plantern makes the most sense here. They will provide the most cost-efficient form of damage here. Doubling the damage for the cost of only 150 sun will allow for more efficient sun production early on, allowing an easier time avoiding the big guns later on. I also brought in the imitator Tallnut. Seeing as I couldn't block off the zombies in my first attempt, naturally having an extra slot to block off the zombies makes the most sense. And oh boy is it important. The amount of zombies is so high in a 4th flag level, and can rip through your Tallnut super quickly, making it super important to imitate Tallnut. However, 2 winter melons seem just quite lacking for the amount of zombies the game is setting at us in this level. Masses of dancing zombies make it difficult for us to break through. We are just barely holding off the zombies here, and a ball dolphin rider that jumps into our group of cattails, distracting them from attacking an angry dancer ends this attempt promptly. I tried to level a couple more times with the same strategy, and this was a winning strategy pretty quickly after I figured out how to optimize the early game for more sun production. Using the rake, potato mine, and squash as early game is always optimal for the first wave zombies, and following up with a cattail on the second wave is always the best. Buying a Plantern on the 4th wave doubles our damage output, and by the 5th wave, special zombies can start coming, but this timing lets us buy a second cattail right there. Then, just spam tall nuts until all the ground lanes are walled off, and this gives protection against pole vaulters as we don't have Gravebuster to reclaim land from gravestones. I like setting up my first 2 melon bolts on the sides as cattails tend to attack the side rows last, so adding more damage there first is important. As the first flag is about to come, I fully wall up the water lanes with Tallnut and Imitator Tallnut in preparation for Dolphin Rider zombies. After that, upgrade the side rows melon bolts to winter melons first, then place a second Plantern, and then it's just more walling up and planting the rest of the melon bolts in the setup. Just 2 columns of melon bolts and Plantern is enough to be your main DPS for this 4th flag level. In fact, this setup has way more DPS that is required to beat this level. This setup of 1 column of melon bolts and winter melons is enough even in survival endless, where the density of zombies is even more ridiculous, give or take with ice shrooms, stalls, and whatever. But this should be fairly reliable in beating this level. If you're scared of angry dancers, potato mines and squashes are 2 backup options to kill them, but cattails should deal with them. And with a proper build order, we can easily beat Zombie Nimble Zombie Quick. Now with Whack-A-Zombie, with all due respect, I have to say that I am physically incapable of beating this level because you saw the thumbnail and title. Yes, it is basically impossible. The level begins really calmingly, creating a false sense of security, and it seems very easy at first, right? I'm just chilling here. Then, the real challenge actually begins after this because your Gravebuster is now no longer useful because of all the gravestones fully repair themselves if they get Gravebusted. Now, it still seems fine for now, but for the later part of the level, the speed at which zombies spawn is literally not in the range of what I can do myself because I don't click fast enough even with a gaming mouse to beat this level. Just watch as I fall miserably to this seemingly infinite swarm of Kona zombies. And yes, this video is being played in the real game speed and it is not sped up. It's that stupid. I made sure to check how fast the zombies spawn in this level afterwards, and I can confidently say your clicking speed needs to be above the top 2% of the population to beat this level. The game spawns about 10 basic equivalent every second in the later waves. You need to click at least 10 times a second without even taking into account of you having to move your pointer around, and that this level lasts for about 4 minutes. I admit defeat to this minigame, and honestly, I had to pull out the auto clicker card. I know, uncool, but my fingers are physically incapable of completing this challenge. A piece of advice to beat this level for me is, not sure. Maybe practice clicking faster in a CPS test website to make sure you can click fast enough. I'd advise you to use an auto-clicker software to get through this level because it's not worth the effort of trying to kill your own mouse to beat this. And no, I don't want to see the comments saying why this would be easy on mobile because this mod is not on mobile. I've gotten too many of those comments in the last 2 times I covered Whack-A-Zombie in the previous Brutal Mode mods. Last stand seems like it would be pretty straightforward, right? We just need to plant 2 columns of melon pods and block off the newspaper zombies with tall nuts. Some additional help from Umbrella Leaf to circumvent target zombies from causing too much havoc. That should be it. Well, that's what I thought at first. The first 3 flags are pretty easy. Then, by the 3rd flag, the difficulty increases sharply to suddenly start setting basically the max spawn rate of Survival Endless, if that's all I can say. The amount of bucketheads is way too much to handle, and our tall nuts take an insane beating and there's no way to defend off this infinitely long snake of bucketheads. Well, then, I could just spend my extra sun on Doomshroom instead. That would definitely solve the problem of high zombie density here for sure, right? Actually, the high density of zombies is only the first problem. The second problem is yet again with the buckethead zombies. Bungee ambushes that spawn catapult zombies ignore umbrella leaves and can instantly crush your plant before it even lands, meaning your umbrella leaf can be killed by a bungee ambush. That one catapult zombie sits on top of my umbrella leaf and tall nut, leaving me wide open without protection against newspaper zombies. I was even cheeky here about this level being easy and speeding the game up using PvZ tools. Turns out I was most definitely wrong. Well then, if we want to mitigate variants of bungee ambushes, having 6 umbrella leaves will make sure that the bungees will definitely deflect any zombie before it lands. Unfortunately, I didn't consider another scenario, which is a gargantuar landing in front of my tall nut that then kills it, and opens up a lane for newspaper zombies to steamroll. The process is pretty easy to understand. Firstly, a bungee ambush spawns a zombie that can insta-kill your plant, which you cannot prevent because it's random and unpredictable. Then, a newspaper zombie can therefore charge into our backlines and kill everything. There's really nothing we can do about that. And by that it is unpredictable, I also mean that it is stupid and happens very commonly, which will instantly end your run because of the simple fact that your tall nut dies. And it's not even just once, twice, 3 times, even in this run, something that impacts one lane can impact another lane significantly. Because I had to replant a tall nut on the 5th row after that tall nut got crushed by a catapult zombie from a bungee ambush, obviously the tall nut will then be on cooldown. This cooldown then causes me the game because I did not have the tall nut off cooldown to place in row 2, which led to my demise promptly after unsuccessful stalling attempts. And yeah, there's nothing you can actually do to prevent this if you're wondering. So the only way to beat this level is simply replaying until that doesn't happen. Yes, sounds ridiculous, but this level is more RNG dependent than specifically RNG levels with conveyor belts just because of the way the bungee ambushes are spawned by bucketheads. And eventually, I got lucky, didn't get completely steamrolled by the bungee ambushes, and I was able to beat this level with the strategy I've been using all along. Zomboss 2 is the next level, and fortunately, we can still use the same strategy in Zomboss 1 to deal with the early game for maximizing our sound production. The early game zombies are identical, so we can still just go with garlics to divert off any pea shooter zombies and walnut zombies to protect a full row of sunflowers at a very low cost. However, you may notice that I'm using pumpkins on my sunflowers. This is because Gatling pea zombies, if you remember them, attack in a spread-like formation so they can reach our sunflowers even if they're on a different row. Otherwise, strategy is identical. Imitator, Doomshroom, and Doomshroom use 1 every 2 waves to kill all the zombies at once. I also brought in Puff Shrooms to help deal with squash zombies to mitigate the damage that they may cause and stop them from crushing our garlics. Blowover to push back tall nut zombies and stall as they don't die at 1 Doomshroom shot. All is going pretty well so far. Wait, we just ran out of sun by the 2nd flag. Well, I suppose we can still survive, right? Just wait so I can Doomshroom the 2nd flag alongside the tall nut zombies together, and that will do with all of them. Here's a reminder that tall nut zombies, if not damaged, will heal faster and faster. So yes, if you try and stall in a situation like that, it'll just heal to full health and survive another Doomshroom. Hence, just 2 rows of sunflowers is insufficient of providing the sun necessary to beat a free flag level, so I had to get more sun production some way here. Well, I wouldn't want to spend time micromanaging a whole other row of sunflowers because that would also have to be protected by pumpkins for it to be worth it. So, what's the simple solution? Of course, I can just ditch lily pads since we're not going to be using them anyways, as we simply Doomshroom to kill all the zombies. Then, we can do twin sunflowers in the top and bottom rows that are provided by our pumpkins, safe from Gatling pea zombies, and that easily provides enough sun for us. What about the tall nut zombies in the water? We can't use blowover onto them to push them back without lily pad, but obviously we don't need blowovers there since Tangle Kelp kills it instantly. And yeah, pretty simply, the zombies here are not fast at all, so with just Doomshroom and Imitator Doomshroom, this level is pretty easily cheesable indefinitely with board wipes. Walnut Bowling 2 is, in comparison to Walnut Bowling 1, much easier due to an abusable game mechanic off the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt is extremely unlikely to send walnut seeds in the conveyor belt as long as there are 4 walnuts stocked in the conveyor belt. Why? I don't know, it's just how it works. But because we can abuse this game mechanic, it means that the only seeds that we can get are Explodo Nuts and Giant Walnuts. And pretty obviously, I think you can see why this would be easily beatable now compared to Walnut Bowling 1. You essentially just spam instant kills for 4 flags straight, and this is my honest opinion, Walnut Bowling is a really boring game mode because it is just repeating the same thing for 20 minutes. Yeah, come fight me, I don't like this minigame. Regardless, I'll spare you from watching me just spam Explodo Nuts and Giant Walnuts for 4 flags because yeah, I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to beat the level if all you get are just instant kills. Now, Pogos Party on the other hand has interesting changes. Bruh. Pole vaulters and dancing zombies serve as quite the interesting additions to this level. Everything here moves extremely fast, and the early game is certainly not pretty. Well, what is the common weakness of all the zombies this level? Tall Nut is. It blocks pogo zombies and pole vaulters, and dancing zombies can't make progress unless it's an angry dancing zombie. So obviously the solution is Imitator and Tall Nut, right? Well, just take a look at the early game right here and see if I was correct. Yeah, pretty obviously the game doesn't send 1 pogo zombie a wave anymore, making it much more difficult to survive early on. So, change in plans, now I'm bringing in an Imitator Sunflower to take advantage of more sun production early on, so I can more easily afford a variety of instant kills in the early game. I try to kill a dancing zombie before it can spawn backup dancers with a potato mine, but obviously that just doesn't work, and I end up with a full board of dancers. However, that is actually very important. Using potato mine and the rake triggers the next wave faster, and this timing actually means 1 Doomshroom can eliminate all 3 starting waves. By this point, we can already have 2 tall nuts because of the recharge we got to exploit in the first 2 minutes of the game, to then actually block off the zombies pretty nicely. The extra sun production from Imitator Sunflower also rolls in extremely nicely as I am able to afford blowover on wave 5 to slow down the pogo zombie and set up a better defense. Now, it's just repeating the process of using blowover slowdown and stall to push zombies back in lanes where we have no tall nuts in, and fully wall up our defense here to block off all pogos. With tall nuts set up, I started planting fume shrooms after the 2nd flag, which is really nice here as all the zombies are squishy and just simply die to fume shroom strike through. And you can see here, it will clean up basically all the zombies that are blocked in front of the tall nuts and help reduce the damage that they are taking from the swarm of pogos. Unfortunately, they cannot deal with angry dancing zombies at all, so after the second flag is really when things don't turn out great for us. Angry dancing zombies start outnumbering our doom shrooms and potato mines, and our fume shrooms are completely incapable of doing much against them, so we just end up losing. I tried the same strategy again, which worked fine, but again, angry dancing zombies are our demise because we don't have enough instant kills to deal with them if we use fume shroom. With the previous fails in mind, I ditched my imitator sunflower in favor of twin sunflower, which serves basically the same purpose as producing more sun early on. This opens up our imitator slot to a more suitable plant, the imitator doom shroom, which should help us deal with the angry dancing zombies and all the remaining zombies as well. The added benefit of imitator doom shroom is that it makes up for the fact that we aren't making more sun with imitator sunflower early on in this level. We can use it to instantly wipe the board in the early game to give us our time to set up our tauntauts later, essentially mitigating the lost sun from not having imitator sunflower. The rest of the level is pretty repetitive, as it's just a process of constantly planting more tauntauts to block off the opposing threats and stall them out with blower when needed. Then, we just cycle through our doom shrooms to wipe everything off the board. With twin sunflowers boosting our economy significantly, it should be more than doable to constantly cycle doom shrooms while planting tauntauts as protection. And once again, doom shroom spam helps us bring yet another level in Bruno Mode EX Plus down to its knees, and that's Pogos Party, or rather, the Jump and Dance Party, done. Dr. Zomboss Revenge is unfortunately just an ordinary Zomboss fight with the Zomboss having 20% more health, just like how this minigame works in vanilla. We did not have a fight against Dr. Zomboss in level 510 if you remember that we skipped the level in part 3 as the level crashed the game in the old version of the game. But just as a word of reference, this level is super easy because it's essentially identical to the vanilla Zomboss fight, only changes being the zombies themselves and the plants. You still get virtually infinite ice shrooms and jalapenos to make this level extremely trivial in comparison to any other level in this mod. The strategy is basically almost identical to any strategy you would use to beat the Zomboss vanilla, with exceptions like having to use a couple more jalapenos when Zomboss is spawning in zombies that are tough for catapults to deal with, like newspaper zombies, footballs, and zombonis. Other than those three zombies, I don't really know if there is any other scenario where you would play this level differently than you would in vanilla, so just keep them in mind and you'll be good to go to beat Dr. Zomboss on Bruno Mode EX Plus. With Dr. Zomboss Revenge out of the way, the only remaining minigames on the minigames page are its raining seats, which I will show in another video, and walnut bowling, which I will leave as a challenge for you guys to try and beat it legitimately. That's it for the minigames of Bruno Mode EX Plus. Next time, we'll be back for the Limbo page in the Bruno Mode EX Plus, where the minigames in there have also been changed and made artificially difficult to somewhat impossible to beat. Remember to subscribe to stay tuned, and thank you to our channel members for supporting the RCCH channel. For now, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.